quick reminder before we get into the new features of version 7 is InMoj is an intelligent backup and disaster recovery software, and it's achieving near instant recovery through continuous data protection or CDP technology. So in a single unified solution, whether it's physical or virtual machines, we can provide a wide range of platform support in a single management or single user interface to do that. So we're really simplifying the whole process here. Really what it comes down to is InMoj is a network-based, block-level, asynchronous, continuous protection data solution. So we are working at the block level, very small changes that are being reported across to the remote site. We are asynchronous replication, so there's no distance limitation, and we are using that CDP, or continuous data protection, while we're replicating every single millisecond of data change within your environment. And it really comes down to being able to solve critical recovery challenges, whether it's for disaster recovery, regardless of storage vendor, regardless of operating system in the environment, regardless of physical or virtual deployment within your environment, whether it's a local continuous backup for recovery, again, any operating system will work for that. And we also have application-level consistencies. So we work with the applications themselves to create a consistent state of that application, so that when you go to recover your data, you know that the application itself is in a consistent state. And so essentially all that needs to happen once recovery is done is direct traffic to that server, and the application will be able to handle that traffic, whether it's Oracle or SQL or SharePoint or Exchange. We also have LAN optimization built into the product, as well as all of the monitoring and reporting that you would need to understand exactly what is my real-time recovery point objective, how much data is being transferred, and what is my capabilities of recovery for each of these servers. As we talk about what's new with Scout version 7, we're really pushing the boundaries of that P2V and the virtualization platforms. So we can do large workloads. If you're talking about virtualization to virtualization replication, or you're talking about physical to virtual replication, we're really pushing those limits. I mean, we're talking about multiple terabytes worth of RAM in those P2V functions, as well as greater than 2 terabyte LUNs. We've even had up to 20 terabytes in a single VM before. And so because of the optimization enhancements that we've added to version 7, this type of environment is very realistic, and so we can grow and scale with your organization as needed. We've also expanded our protection coverage. We have virtualization to virtualization. We have physical to virtualization, and we have virtual back to physical replication. So really it's kind of an any to V solution, regardless of how you want to set up your protection or how your environment is organized between physical and virtual servers. We'll be able to help you with that protection and replication of that data. Some of the new things we've added are the P2V and the V2V for our Linux environments. So we've had Windows for quite some time, and we've now added our Linux capabilities to our P2V functionality, as well as our virtual to virtual. And also we've added MSCS clusters, especially for Windows 2012. So being able to do a P2V or a V2V of a Microsoft cluster services really gives you the flexibility of simplifying your DR solution and being able to replicate perhaps those high utilized physical servers that are clustered into a virtual environment, so you can simplify your DR needs. And obviously, as UEFI becomes more prevalent in the marketplace, we do have support for UEFI on those physical servers. And again, it can go from virtual to virtual, physical to virtual, and virtual back to physical. So we do have full integration into the new UEFI that we're starting to see on these servers out there. We've also expanded our virtualization coverage to Hyper-V version 2012. So we can do continuous data protection and replication for this. It is a hypervisor-based protection. So we do still have the application consistency integration into the guest machines on that hypervisor. And really you can recover at the hypervisor level with Hyper-V. So this really gives a lot of capabilities to the hypervisor or Hyper-V 2012 environment, and gives you a lot of control over exactly which guest you would like to protect and replicate, and your ability to bring them online very quickly. We've also expanded into the public cloud. So we now offer protection for virtual instances running in those public cloud environments, such as Amazon. So you don't necessarily have to own end-to-end or own that DR environment that you want to replicate into. If you want to take advantage of the cloud environment, or you want to take advantage of a hybrid cloud or even a private cloud, we'll work with you and be able to replicate your data into any of those types of scenarios. So now you can protect that hybrid IT environment and encompass the traditional IT and public cloud infrastructures all in one. Again, still using the same single interface and the same UI to manage all of your replication needs. As virtual desktops or VDIs becomes more and more prevalent in the market, it really comes down to the consolidation of those desktops that impact the productivity of the clients. And IT still needs to be able to recover those environments just as fast, if not faster. With the way that we've centralized that VDI environment, there's a lot of importance on those machines to ensure that those desktops can be presented and they can be recovered very, very quickly. So InMoz offers the broadest range of hypervisor support that enables protection of those high-value VDI servers. Those servers are really core to running your organizations now. So we want to make sure that we can protect those and bring those up very, very quickly for you and do any recoveries needed. So whether it's in VMware, whether it's Citrix Zen Server or Microsoft Hyper-V, it doesn't matter. We're going to give you that capability of down to the millisecond protection with the ability to recover that information very, very quickly and be able to present it back. We also support a wider range of guests for the VDI environment, whether it's XP all the way to Windows 8 and anything in between. So with InMoz, we do protect a wide variety of operating systems, and so we have added additional operating system support with our version 7. So really, we bring continuous data protection to the broadest range of Unix environments, so enterprises can be assured of the backup and DR protection of those machines. Whether it's desktop to the data center or data center to the cloud, it doesn't matter which way you're going to use the product. It's still the same product and it functions very similarly. So some of the highlights of the new releases that we've added with version 7 is in the Windows environment, Server 2012 is now fully supported, as well as the MSCS cluster capability. So adding that clustering capability with the Server 2012 is actually really exciting, and we're happy to be able to bring that to you. With Red Hat, we're doing the 2 latest releases of each of their major distributions, whether it's 5 Update 8 or 6 Update 3. Those are now readily available, as well as Oracle Iron Linux is going to be 5 Update 6. And in the SUSE environment of Linux, we're doing Server 11, Service Pack 2, and then AIX. We're actually really excited about our AIX expansion. We currently do 5.3 64-bit, 6.1 even in clustered mode, and the latest of 7.1 is now supported as well. And with Solaris, of course, we support their latest Solaris 11. By having a single solution that can protect a wide range of operating systems and can be very flexible in your environment between physical and virtual servers, it really reduces the training costs and the licensing and the maintenance costs to have replication. Your replication is no longer tied to your storage or to a specific application or specific operating system. So as you grow and your environment becomes more flexible, you can continue to use InMoz for that replication. We find that this is essential for corporate customers that are going through mergers and acquisitions. Many times you acquire a data center or specific systems that don't necessarily fit within your normal operating standards, but you still have the requirement of protecting and maintaining those machines and making sure that those systems are available for business use until they can be migrated. With InMoz, you have that capability to span and spread across all of the different operating systems and architectural layouts. So we're really excited about our AIX, especially the AIX 7.1 support, and being able to extend that support in the enterprise. Support for migration from older AIX versions into 7.1. What we're seeing in the marketplace for AIX is now that version 5.3 has entered extended or long-term support from IBM, there's a big push to move and migrate that information into a later version, whether it be 6.1 or 7.1. So with that end of life of AIX, it really creates a need for IT departments to do that migration. And it's really a good time to introduce, how am I protecting this data? Is it the best way that I have been protecting the data? Is it the way that I want to move forward with it? And so you can really do backup and DR services that can be accomplished, as well as the migration services. So we can really start and kind of provide a foundation for virtualization or even a cloud discussion in some of these enterprise environments that traditionally were hardware to hardware with storage replication. And again, the software licenses stay with you. They're not lost to storage changes or any application changes or anything like that. The licensing of InMage is very, very flexible, and it just worries about which server are you replicating. It doesn't concern itself with the type of operating system or the application itself. It just worries about the data that it's replicating. So really, there's a lot of applications that go hand in hand with AIX. Some of those are the DB2 databases, any of the healthcare stuff, McKesson or Epic. We have SAP is very common, as well as Oracle, just to name some of the top or the key applications that we typically run on AIX. And we do have support or application support for each of those applications within the AIX environment, so that when you're replicating that AIX or you're migrating it forward, we can still work and have intelligence into those applications and ensure that you have consistency points in there. So with that flexibility of operating system support, really it's a breakthrough to the data center to now support small to large enterprises. It's a very flexible solution that can be tiered out as needed, whether it's a handful of servers or whether it's the entire environment. The management interface is designed to scale out and grow with your organization. We've also expanded into clustered capabilities for all application storage. So customers that are using SAP or other ERP business suites, they typically depend upon Oracle or a DB2 running on the AIX foundation or even in a clustered mode. And so with the InMage platform now extending protection to those mission-critical applications, including the databases themselves, we can now protect all those ERP or all those highly needed functions or applications with near zero RPO, recovery point objective, and recovery time objectives, so that you can protect those and you can fail those over very easily and very quickly. We also support the hybrid between the x86 and the Power environment. So really it's just another level of flexibility within your environment and the AIX that you may have deployed. Continuing with the clusters, and we're really excited about this, is we've actually added Red Hat Enterprise Clustering. So with many enterprises leveraging platforms such as OpenStack and other cluster or resistant storage solutions, it's kind of driving the organization for that uptime and that reliability of their private or even their hybrid cloud architectures. So with InMage version 7, we've now introduced support for Red Hat GFS 2, which is their resilient storage and resilient clustering capabilities. So now you can find that you can not only focus on getting that near zero RPO and RTO recovery point and recovery time objectives without having to go to a monolithic array-based architecture. Really, you can have the best of both worlds now. You can have that clustered file system as well as have that CDP or continuous data protection, block level recovery and replication of your data. We also support hypervisors such as KVM for replication as well. So with the Red Hat environment, we've added quite a few things that we're very excited about sharing. With the enhanced scalability, we've also focused on the application itself and the user interface. We've actually given it a whole facelift. Really, the goal is to optimize it and make it easy to use. So with Scout version 7, customers can now protect and monitor up to hundreds of protected servers at a single glance. And you can see exactly what's going on a server-by-server basis. You can group them into protection plans or protection policies, and you can see what's happening there. So really, it's been optimized to scale to much larger server farm and protection while minimizing the amount of system resources that are utilized in order to scale out the environment. So some of the items for enhanced or extending the improvement management tools and reporting visibility is many times with the CIOs now want visibility into the entire data center. They want to know what their backup and their disaster recovery processes look like. They want to have it in a single interface. They want a report that's very easy to see what's going on. And we've provided all of that, whether it's navigation, whether it's dashboards, whether it's performance enhancements, whatever it might be. And you can see that we're going to go through a handful of slides here that will kind of depict some of the applications that we're looking at or some of the screenshots that will show us the new interface. And this is really designed to scale out to your environment regardless of the size and show you exactly what's going on here. So the first thing we see is if you have protection plans. Now, you can group multiple servers into a protection plan. So if you have an ERP system or even SAP or SharePoint or even multiple SQL servers and file servers that might be dependent upon each other, you can group that application into a protection plan. And what that means is the protection plan is going to monitor all of the servers that it needs to. So if you had to fail over, you would simply have to select the appropriate protection plan, and then you simply fail over that plan, and it'll grab all of the machines associated to that plan and fail them all over at a similar consistency point so you don't have any data inconsistencies. So when you look at these, you can see here very easily we can see Exchange or a SQL or Oracle or a P2V or a VMware. And you'll notice that any of the icons that are on these screens, they're actually color sensitive. So those little shields that represent that it's under protection will actually dynamically change color based on the status, whether it's green for healthy, yellow might be an alert, red might be a critical error, so on and so forth. And so it's very easy at a glance to see what's going on over an entire protection plan or multiple servers that are there. And here we have the actual server view. We've got a nice clean interface that defines each of the servers. Again, that shield is color sensitive, so it'll let us know on a very specific basis of that server whether there's an issue or not. Gives you the host name, gives you the IP address, tells you the operating system. Very easily and very quickly you can identify what's going on in the environment. You can select any one of those icons and you'll be able to jump into the details of that specific server. And we'll get to some screenshots which would show us those details there. We also have a quick overview. Those two green circles are actually pie charts. Everything's healthy and happy so that we can see what's going on not only at an individual server basis, but on our protection plans as well. You'll notice on the left-hand side, there's 6 items within that pie chart. That's 6 servers that are under protection in a healthy state. On the right-hand side, you'll notice there's 5 protection plans. Well, that's because there's 2 servers joined into the same protection plan. And so we're monitoring 2 separate things with those pie charts there. We're also giving you a good interface of exactly what's going on with the replication in your environment. Because InMoj is a host offload solution, there is a process server there that does all the heavy lifting, the caching, the queuing, the compression, the encryption, the bandwidth management, the reporting. All of that heavy lifting is done on that process server. So as you scale out your environment or scale up your environment, or if you have multiple locations that you want to consolidate to one, you may have multiple process servers deployed throughout your organization. And if that's the case, when you establish replication between those process servers, when you go ahead and select on a specific server and choose the information, it'll provide you with exactly what that replication pair relationship is in the environment. So as you can see here, we've got a source server. It's SQL Server. You can see the host name, the IP address, as well as other detailed information, including the release of InMoj that's there. The process server, you define that as which process server the replication pair is going through, and also the target machine as well. So you can define that target machine for that specific source machine. Now, whether you have multiple sources going into one target or you have a one-to-one relationship, it doesn't matter. We'll continue to provide you this information so it's very easy and clean so you can see exactly what's going on in your environment from that replication standpoint. And because we have the ability to scale out into environments and really protect hundreds of servers, we might scale out those process servers as well. And so you can see here that we have tabs defining each of those process servers. We have the control server, which is the main user interface, and it manages the other process servers. And we have 2 process servers in this example here. Each of those tabs give you very similar information about those specific process servers and control server. Tells you the health of that information, the load, the CPU, the memory usage, all of the critical information you need to ensure that it's running in a healthy state is all available to you at a quick glance. Again, all of those colors, all the green here is color dynamic. So it will change to be yellow or red depending upon what the state is of those particular items, as well as the little square up by the tab. It'll change appropriately to reflect that there's an alarm. So you can see very quickly and very easily if there's any kind of issue, and then you can select the tab, dive into what that issue is, and get resolution for it. The other thing that we're providing is that real-time RPO. So an RPO is the recovery point objective, or basically how long does it take for data to get replicated from my source machine and to be successfully applied to my target machine. And that's your RPO, your recovery point objective. And so you can see in this example here, it's just under a minute. So it's taking about a minute for that data to replicate between these two systems here. It also tells us what our recovery window is. Everything is presented in GMT time frame. So if you're crossing time zones, you don't have to do any time zone calculations. Everything's there for you. And we also have the ability, you have the ability to set that recovery window to whatever you would like. And it is a per server setting. So you could set up maybe 3 days for one server, maybe 6 months for another server, a year for another server, 2 months for another server, and you have full control over what that recovery or that retention capability is per machine. And lastly here, you can see the available consistency points. So that consistency point is where we tie in with the application level. And we tie in to say, you know, at this point in time, create a consistent state of that application, whether it's SQL, whether it's Oracle, whatever it might be. And we're going to remember that consistency point. You might schedule that to happen every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, every half hour, whatever is appropriate for that server in your environment. But we're going to tell you right here exactly how many available consistency points you have. So we can see very quickly, just by this one look, it's a Microsoft SQL server. We're just under a minute behind. Worst case scenario, we'd lose about a minute's worth of data if we had to fail over. We know what our recovery window is of how many days of recovery we have available to us. And within that recovery window, we know that we have 646 consistency points where if we select one of those points of consistency to recover to, we don't have to do anything to SQL. We don't have to quiesce the data. It simply powers the system on, boots it up, we direct traffic to it, and it starts running. SQL Server will think it was a clean shutdown and a restart operation. We provide this information for every single server that's under protection, so you can see exactly what's going on in the environment. Another thing that we've enhanced is we really like to talk about DR from a reliability perspective. Is just because you have a DR process in place, does it work? How well does it work? And when was the last time you tested it? We've done a lot of enhancements with version 7 to ensure that you can test this information real time, to ensure that you can bring it online, even during business hours, without affecting anything. So we've done faster recovery when you do have that disaster. InMage makes a lot of the recovery forms much easier to work through, whether it's an upgrade to the wizard, the step-by-step interface that you'll walk through, or whether it's just the speed of bringing things online. So we've done significant improvements on speeding up that DR drill process. So with InMage, the IT staff has multiple choices for DR testing. They can choose a non-disruptive to production test. We've made that process faster, which means you can actually present that data during business hours without interfering with production in any way or the protection of your production servers. We've added that option for the DR drill without impact to production servers or any data that's already protected and already in place. And you don't have to stop protection. So you can actually do a DR test in the middle of the day and it's not going to affect anything. You don't even have to add additional storage through array level snapshots or anything like that. We can actually present that data and we can do a real-time presentation of the data in read-write mode using 0 additional disk space. So you truly do have the ability to present that data, verify it, use it, validate it, whatever, even recover from it during business hours without breaking your protection or replication in any way. And we've also done a DR drill optimization. Again, no impact to production, but it can quickly resume the operations, and we can actually make a copy of the infrastructure if you'd like. If you do want to make a copy of that infrastructure, it does require additional storage. But what it does is it will actually make a clone of the data and present that clone so you can bring it online in a DR testing VLAN, and you can keep it online as long as you'd like and run all kinds of tests, or even test dev environments go against that. if you choose that option to do that DR clone, we actually have file system awareness even though we're block level replication. So the fact that we can reach into that file system, when we can understand which blocks are the important blocks that need to be cloned, and we ignore all of the white space. So that clone is incredibly fast in order to bring that machine online for you. And again, you can present that data in many different ways. The traditional ways that we've always had is you can present it in read-write mode using 0 additional disk space. You can present the entire server in a failover. You can actually modify the IP information during that process, so you can put it into a DR test VLAN if you'd like, so it's not interfering with production. You can do a full failover and actually a full fail back and protect your environment on the DR side as well as going back into the production side once production is repaired. So there's a lot of different ways that you can validate this information and ensure that your DR test actually is working for you. We're really excited to share with you the new features of Scout version 7 that we have. And so we can really continue to improve our process and really adhere to what the environment's doing, whether it's a hybrid cloud, whether it's really pushing the limits of virtualization and continuing to protect multiple virtualization solutions out there, whether it's allowing you to simplify the process of actually testing your DR environment. We'll bring all of that to you. And I know there's a couple of questions. I just want to respond to those. The first one is can we obtain a copy of these slides? This presentation is being recorded, and you'll certainly be able to get a copy of this presentation as well as the slide deck that's out there. So absolutely you can get that. And then another question is, when is Scout 7 available for download? And it's actually released as of last week. So Scout version 7 is available. It is the GA form, so it's the one that is publicly available to all who need to either upgrade or to install InMosh Scout there. I really appreciate your time today, and I appreciate your interest in InMosh, and I hope that we can help you in the future. Please feel free to contact us at sales@inmosh.com or always at 1-800-646-3617. We'll keep